living in New York, working in fashion houses and going to fashion school, it was like, oh, it was not, the fashion industry was not anything like what I thought it was. And my first job was actually working with Marc Jacobs in their materials department, and that was very illuminating to where fabrics are coming from, even in a luxury fashion house. Just the process of, synthetically dyeing things that were being milled, and then not really having any idea of like who was producing what they were working on, and the price points that they were hiking it up to, even though I saw what they were actually paying for the materials, was really disheartening. And the synthetic materials they were using, like PVC, never going to biodegrade. And this is what I wanted to do, and I was seeing how unhappy it was making me and the detrimental effects it was having on the planet. And so that's when I started researching sustainable fashion. And for a smaller project of my own, I started just dabbling with plant dyes.
It's so cool to meet your maker. For me, it doesn't make sense to be disconnected from the things that I consume. Green Matter's Natural Dye Company is the right choice for Seed because it's the only natural dye house that I could find in North America. All of them have gone away. It's not a profitable industry at this scale. It's too small. So what we need to do is actually expand the amount of clothing brands that are using natural dyes. That's not only going to heal the planet and the waterways, but it also reduces the cost of natural dyes when we start to use it on a bigger scale.
9 trillion gallons of synthetic dye chemicals are dumped into waterways every year. So once these chemicals get in the water, it's almost impossible to get them out because they're meant to bind onto fabric and they're meant to stay.
It's molecules that will not break down in the water and cannot be filtered out. And there's carcinogens in them. There are dyes that use formaldehyde to get the right color, and that's all being dumped in rivers.
All the communities that are surrounding the river, their life depends on the water that they get from the rivers. So bathing and drinking water all comes, and they're getting it from the river that these chemicals are being dumped into. It's hard to filter them out. Here, we can see it from seed to growth to actually implementing it as a dye, and make sure the whole process is up to our sustainability standards.
Moving into this space here was perfect. We're right next to the greenhouse. We're able to come out and check the plants every day. We're able to put our own fertilizer in. It's already a very sustainable system. We only use rainwater for all of our dye baths. I still knew that seeing the color be extracted from plants and see that in the fiber and the brilliant colors I was getting from plant dyes, that's when I knew that I could still make something so beautiful and so luxurious. And no one's skin was melting off. It wasn't being expelled into waterways anywhere. And that's when I saw it have the ability to maybe be scalable. You're trying to make something accessible to people who use something every day. This isn't an evening gown. This isn't, this is something that people are wearing all the time. People live in these pants. So to have something that someone is using every day that has been naturally dyed is really exciting. And what they're absorbing through their skin, what they have against their skin, isn't plastic, isn't packed with chemicals, is really exciting for us to be able to work with a brand like that it's part of every day.
There's no other t-shirt like this. It has a natural look to it. So this is the only t-shirt like this in the whole world. And every piece of naturally dyed clothing can potentially be like that. It's working with nature instead of completely removing ourselves from it, because we are from the earth. I think when we actually begin to take that seriously, make that a reality, amazing things can happen.
It's just the next level of the evolution with Seed is take on the next challenge, and the next challenge for us is how can we make all of our clothes from natural fibers, but also from natural dyes. With Seed, I'm out to transform the fashion industry, and that includes every point in the supply chain that happens as a clothing item is made. It includes the sewing, which we saw in Seed short docs too. It includes the fabrics that we're using. It includes the dyes that we're using for the fabrics. It includes the thread that we use to sew the clothing together. It includes labor practices and location of where we sew it. The next step in the Seed Short Docs series is to go to the field, join us in the hemp field, and watch what we're doing with our Crop to Top initiative in the Calgary area.
Being able to be in an environment that we're able to continue to research and continue to build this into a sustainable process is really important to us. It's every day we learn something new about how to make plants make color.